Hi, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. Last week I took about 15 blocks, which could be considered snowflake-like blocks, and did a few modifications and colored them and added them to a project in EQ. Now I'm going to cover what I did with those blocks. Okay, I'm going to open an existing project. And I'm going to go to the Snowflake Sampler project, and I'm going to select OK. And I'm going to close the project sketchbook. And I'm going to select Design a Quilt from Scratch. And in the ribbon toolbar under New Quilt, I'm going to scroll over to Open Library, which is the last item. And once I'm in the EQ Layout Library, I'm going to click on the minus by the layouts by size and click on the plus to get the layouts by style. And I want to select something from one of the irregular grids. And the reason I like this is all of the blocks are not necessarily the same. And so the one that I found that I wanted to play with was Irregular Grid 11. So I'm going to click on that and click on Edit to the Quilt Work Table. And so this is giving a quilt of 56 by 56. And if I use my Adjust tool and I click on the block, I can see that these are 9-inch blocks. These are 18-inch, and these are 18 by 9. Now I think I'm going to have to do something different with those, but I can certainly do that. Now, while I am on the Adjust tool, I want to draw your attention to the quilt grid setup. There are three options in there. One is to show the grid, and the reason we're not seeing it, let me just move this out of the way. That grid is in back of the blocks, but I do want to have that on. The other thing is Snap Block Position to Grid, and I want to turn that on, so it should be blue as well. That means when I get close to an area, it should snap in place using these grid snap increments. The third is Snap Block Size to Grid, and I'm going to do that. Now, I am going to work in whole inches or 1-inch increments for this quilt, so I'm going to go ahead and set my snap grids at that. So for this particular one here, I'm going to go ahead and actually, I've got the Adjust tool on, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And I can select the delete from down below in the single select options, or I could have just used the delete key on my keyboard. Now I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to do a copy and paste. And notice when I get close, it should snap in place. So I'm going to do another paste and fill in this one as well. And I can tell if it's good when I look at the X and Y axis, which is the upper left corner, and I know that those are whole numbers as well. Oh, somehow I got this moved. This should be to 1 inch. Okay, so let me double check. Ooh, let me correct that one, and now that one looks good as well. The next thing I'm going to change is in this group down here. I'm going to delete this one, and for this one I'm going to recenter it. And so I am going to add a new block, and under my Set Block tool, if I want just a spacer block, I'm going to click on the triple dots, and I am going to select Add Plain Block, and they're going to add that at the end. And so I have the option of dragging this on the quilt, and with the Adjust tool, I can drag the edges, and it's going to snap those to 1-inch increments. So when I did this, this one is now 9 by 5. I actually want to make that one 9 by 4. And I'm going to move it out of the way and snap it back into place. So I've got that. And I'm going to move that there as well. And then I'm going to copy and paste that. Move that. And I need to make that bigger, right? Because it's not filling the space. So I'm going to increase the size, move it out of the way, let it snap back in place. Okay, I have fine-tuned my layout, and now I'm ready to start setting blocks. Now recognize that I could have set blocks, gone back, made changes to my layout, and gone back and forth between set blocks. But in the interest of you seeing the layout in its purest form, I'm just going to show you that, and then we're going to go ahead and select set blocks. And I'm going to start with some of the larger ones for these big 16-inch blocks. It's probably a great place for some of the more complex quilts that we're working on. And once I've done that, I can also start putting in the smaller blocks. And again, I'm just trying to space them so that they are visually interesting. Now, if there are places that I don't want to do blocks, I can just go to the fabric tool. I'm going to use the eyedropper and find my background, and it's going to flip me over to the paintbrush, and I can just use that to color the blocks that I don't want to actually create a pieced block in my quilt. So anyway, I'm going to finish this up, and I will be right back. I am ready to add borders. And so I was trying to find something ice crystal-y. So I went to the border tab, and I still have that 1-inch border all the way around, which I think I like. And I'm going to add a second border. And to see what the border options are, you can sort of scroll and you can get a view of a preliminary view. So I decided I liked this big and little points out. So I'm going to select that. I am going to move the slider bar to about 4 inches. And if I need to fine tune that, I can just click to the right or the left. Because I have all on, when I move one, they all move. So I need to scroll down. And don't scroll on that, or you're going to change the size, but use that slider bar and go ahead and increase that to 12. And for the next one, I'm just going to highlight it and type in the 12 because I think that's a little bit faster. And so now I'm going to go ahead and add another border. So I'm going to scroll up to the top, select add, and I think I'm just going to use a 1-inch border for that. So now I am ready to go and color all of those pieces. And so I've now got my custom quilt all colored. So this one is using custom set, but it's using one of the layouts in the layout library that was designed for custom set. And so it's a faster way of making modifications and using something that's out there to create a layout that is uniquely your own. Thanks so much for watching. If you are just getting started to explore Electric Quilt, check out my introductory class, Shoot for the Stars with EQ8. Or if you're ready for a deeper dive, check out the Techniquilter membership.